Hello, good morning, love wrestling. It is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025, and we are here for another episode of Firmly WWE right here on the Firmly Love Wrestling brand. I can speak. But we are here, Raw. Yesterday, WWE still in the middle of their European Big Ben. I always am, bro. We are here. WWE still smack dab in the middle of their European tour. Before we dive in to the week that was, Drew, first and foremost, as always, how are you doing this morning, my pal?
I'm doing good. I am interested to chat today about things. So it's gonna be an interesting show, everybody. Very interesting show.
Fair enough.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Today's a good day. I'm a T-Mobile subscriber, and today is the day where I get free MLB TV for the season. So it's usually $150.
I'm also a T-Mobile subscriber.
Well,
thank you for telling me.
Yeah. So today is the first day. We have today and tomorrow, I believe, because baseball starts on Thursday for everybody. And I'm a baseball guy. But today is the day that we can redeem our free MLB TV for the whole season. That's $150 value, Drew. And I get it free every year I get it. It's the best. That's Beautiful. What it is. That's what it is. It's a thing of beauty. All right. Let's dive in. So Raw yesterday from Glasgow. A lot of people say Glasgow. That's the wrong way to say it. Yeah, it's Glasgow. That's how you say it, I believe. I probably said that wrong, but I believe that's how you say it. They were in Glasgow, Scotland for another edition of Monday Night Raw. And for the second week in a row, Drew, this show started with John Cena making his way to the ring. Very similar to how he made his way to the ring last week when we saw him and heard from him for the first time. Crowd is giving it to him. He's staring holes through kids. He's staring holes through the crowd. He does the slow walk with the towel behind him. He does the slow walk to the ring, getting the vitriol of everybody. And he gets in the ring, and he's getting a lot of the same treatment that he was last week. I know CM Punk is on our what do you call it? On our thumbnail. We will talk about that segment next. But I feel like Cena is going to open all of these shows. He's going to be the first guy that like next week as well. I think they're in London, the last Europe Raw before they come back to the States. I would expect that John Cena opens the show he's opened these two, and he's the first person the crowd sees and things of that nature. So I do want to start with Cena again, because I do think for the last
couple, get the positive. Let's talk about something positive first.
Yeah. And again, like, I have a feeling, I mean, Drew, listen, I'm not ragging on you, but I have a feeling I'm going to be more okay with what we saw last night. I think it was a step back from the previous 2 or 3 weeks of Raw. I thought, again, last week was the 4th Raw since Elimination Chamber. and we still have 3 more Raws to go until we get to WrestleMania. That is a long time. Not every show that we see on this stretch is going to be balls to the wall, something crazy, something big is happening every week. I think this was one of those weeks. You know what I mean?
Next week is the last advertised Cena appearance.
Yes.
Now, is he going to make another one as a surprise? We don't know.
I would expect that first Raw back in the States, he is not there. He is not there, but he's there for the go-home show the week after. That's what I would expect. I would expect to see him on the go-home show to Mania. He probably takes the Raw when we first come back, because there's 2 Raws in the States. There's the next week in Europe, and then there's 2 Raws in the States again before we get to Mania. I would assume that first one back in the States, we don't see him. No pun intended, not the joke. You know that. I think really don't see him on that episode. And then we see him on the go-home show. My question to you is, so this starts, and it's very similar. I thought it was another good promo from John. But it was very similar to the one last week, ragging on the fans, telling them that they're the problem. The fans, again, with the chants, kind of proving his point once again, which he eats it up. He's laughing. He's holding the mic up because he knows everything he's saying. Once again, the crowd is just proving, he said the line 2 weeks in a row, "You are making this so easy for me." That's the line that he's repeated, and it's because the crowd is doing everything that he knows that the crowd is going to act a certain way. And he's like, I'm just going to feed into this because it just works with what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So it was a very similar promo. He talked about that kid from last week. That's how he started the promo, because that kid that made the rounds, the memes of that poor little kid, decked out in Cena gear. And he leans right into him. He goes, "Last week I put a clueless kid on blast." He called him he said his poor, pathetic face was everywhere. So he just leaned in more on that kid.
Poor kid.
He talked about how WWE posted it everywhere. The fans all loved it. He goes, "It just proves my point." He goes, "I've been coming out here for 20 years. I'm the only guy that actually tells the truth, while you guys just use your profanities and all this stuff."
They do the "F you Cena" again, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yep. He goes, "You love to watch and rewatch that meme with that little kid, and he's getting destroyed." And he's like, he goes, "You're all horrible people," making fun of that, whatever. And then he just keeps on going. He goes, "For 20 years, I put up with the noise. I didn't waste the time being mean. I just paid attention." And then he goes into, I thought it was funny because he brings up the spinner belt. That is really what. So he says, "The most important thing that you people ever told me was almost 20 years ago." He goes, "In April 2005, I gave you my greatest idea." He calls it his greatest idea, Drew. The Spinner Championship. And he knows everybody hated that fucking belt. Oh, I didn't wait 10 minutes. Everybody knows he hated. We all hated that belt. It's a stupid belt.
Please send us a super chat if you'd like to make up for the monetization of today.
It's fine. He knows everybody hated that belt. He knows. And so he leans in. He says it was his greatest idea ever. He says, "And just like you guys are doing right now, you ate me alive for it." He goes, just Google spinner belt and Google negative comments. And then you can see what everybody said about the spinner belt. Championships are supposed to mean something. This is a toy, all this stuff. He leans into it. He goes, "You told me loud and clear how stupid I was because I changed the title into a toy, and the title is not a toy." And he starts leaning in, and he goes, "So for 20 years, he goes, and then he goes, listen closely." He goes, "That was the biggest mistake you ever made. You were vulnerable enough to tell me what means the most in life. And now that I know that, I'm going to ruin wrestling for every fan, for every wrestler, for everyone." And he goes, at WrestleMania, I will make history by winning the 17th World Championship, and I will finally force you to forget the name of Ric Flair. Now, newsflash, John, that will not ruin wrestling. That will probably make wrestling better. I don't think that's a heel thing, John. Nowadays, people want Ric Flair out of here. I know you read the room and you pay attention. Clearly, you haven't been paying attention to the last, year or two, because that guy we want off the top of the record.
Well, there's not much reading the room these days when it comes to certain things.
No, so it is what it is. He goes, and worse, I'm going to win the title and retire with it, taking it home with me and leaving all of you to create a brand new toy belt, because the real one will be coming home with me. He goes, I'll be the last real champion in WWE, and you will hate me for it. And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. He goes, because at WrestleMania, after WrestleMania, you'll have to remember the name John Cena for the rest of your lives. And that will ruin wrestling. So so Cena kind of leaned into that. And then once again, we have Cody Rhodes make his entrance. Cody comes out again. John, second week in a row, and we already have it booked that they're doing another face-to-face next week, Drew. Second week in a row where Cody's doing all the talking. When it's them two in the ring, Cody is doing all the talking. Like John really still hasn't addressed Cody yet in this. He really has not addressed Cody at all. He's talked to the fans both weeks. Cody's come out and addressed John both weeks, but John hasn't said it like he started to last week, and he called him a kid, and then Cody kind of flipped out. This week, John didn't say anything. Cody came out. Cody said, you can try to take away the title from the fans, but in order to do that, you got to take it away from me first. And he said, Cody said that he made a mistake last week, talking about old and new John. And then he says, you made a mistake too, John. And the mistake wasn't hitting me with the title at Elimination Chamber. He goes, the mistake was what you just said in front of these people. And Cody goes, do you know how hard I clawed and fought to get this title one time? One time. To validate one name. That's how hard and what I had to do to get to it one time. And you're taking this for granted that you want to win your 17th, and you're acting like this. He goes, and he took that personally. And then Cody basically says, all right, man, like I'm not ready to, I don't want to talk anymore. He takes off the jacket. He undoes the tie. John Cena squares up with him. And it's like, oh God, we're going to have a little bit of a fisticuffs. I knew they weren't. I knew they weren't. Yeah, I knew they weren't. But then Cena does the heel thing. He backs out. He leaves the ring. The crowd booing him in shame. And that is how the segment.
And then he talks a little bit more. Cody talks a little bit more.
Cody grabs the mic again and the belt, because John goes up the ramp. Then Cody calls for John. And at first, John walks back like he's going to go back in the ring. And then he stops. And then Cody, Fernando, it wasn't very much unlike the promo last week. I still thought it was a good segment, though. But it was a lot of rinse and repeat. But yes, so he gets back on the mic. He says, what did he say? He says, I can't have this on my conscience, and I need you, John, to understand that my psychotic need. Your psychotic need to take this belt does not outweigh and he's referring to him and the fans, our collective need to keep it. He goes, the champ is no longer the man standing in the aisle. He's standing in the center of the ring. And he goes, and you're walking away empty-handed just as you will at WrestleMania and just as you will from the WWE. And then he holds the belt high, and that is how the full segment
ends.
I
want to address what Fernando said. It was almost the same promo from last week.
Similar.
However, I don't think that that's a bad thing. And I don't think it's a bad thing, because this is like, I see this heel turn of John as really like a coming out moment for him of this is something that I have wanted to do for a long time. This is something I have waited to do for a long time. And when you have I equate it to kind of like it's a natural reaction to holding in something for a very long time, and now you're just telling every single person,
letting it out, man.
You're letting it out. Yeah, you're letting out all of your grievances. And when you see a new person, you're going to let out your grievances again. And when you see the next person, you're going to let out your grievances again, because this is 25 years of John Cena being the guy in WWE, whether we wanted him to be the guy or not. And that waned in the last 5-6 years, of course, obviously, with Roman Reigns. But we have now this version of John Cena that would go into the worst parts of Cena sucks land and still put a smile on his face and still perform for them and still love them. And now I think what's going on is, well, I mean, we don't have to think, we know. He says he doesn't care about them anymore.
Nope.
But he has also now taken it upon himself to not care about the Let's Go Cena people anymore either. Because, like he said last week, all people ever did was buy the merch with never give up, you can't see me, hustle, loyalty, respect. And, it's obviously, this is, the fans are not going to actually fight for him. That's not what we do here. We're not, fist fighting with Cena sucks people or people that we disagree with. But as a heel, Cena now sees those people wearing those shirts and saying, "What did you really do for me? What did you do for me ever? Besides wear a hat, buy a shirt, big fucking deal." That's basically what he's saying. It's like, "Oh, you bought you," and he said this last week, "You want to look like me. I don't want to look like you." Which is why he's not changing his look. He's not changing his music, because that's what we wanted. We wanted a new presentation. We wanted this new stuff from him. And I think this was the right call. I absolutely think this was the right call. It actually, I think, makes him more of a heel that he didn't do any of that stuff and is still looks like the same John Cena.
I fully agree. And I was one of those people, I think we all were. It's just the natural wrestling fan in us. We were one of those people that were like, all right, new presentation, he's heel now, new music at least, or all this stuff. But now doing it for 2 weeks and hearing the promos for 2 weeks, even though they were similar, it's 100% the right decision to not change him at all. At all. And I think they made the right decision of keeping the music, keeping the outfits, keeping everything, because I think obviously the way they're playing it with the heel turn is his whole premise is the reason why this happened is not me. I'm not the reason why this happened. The reason this happened was you guys, because you guys were never satisfied enough with what I was doing. You were never satisfied, even though, like you said, I came out here for 20 years. You would chant F you to me. You would tell me I suck. You would tell me all these things, and I still came out here with a smile on my face. I met the Make-A-Wish kids. I did all this shit, and I was the good guy all the time, even though the majority of you didn't want me to be. And now I am what you wanted me to be.
You made me the butt of an invisible joke. Yes. You hated the the spinner belt. Yes. You hated these things. If and not, now he gives them everything. He's given us everything, and we have spat on him and stepped on him and never wanted him around, except for that little SmackDown Live 2015 run. But other than that, and almost that also plays into this too, because
100%.
I don't know if he'll ever mention it. He probably won't. But that when he came back and was getting cheered, and John Cena sucks, when they do that to the music, and that was actually taken as respect. It wasn't from like the 2011, 2010 times where people were saying it because they actually meant it. They were doing it because people at the end of Kurt Angle's run, people were saying you suck because it was out of respect. So now it's really come full circle now, because Kurt Angle never came back as a heel again.
Nope.
But now Cena gets to take all of this fickle stuff, and I have my fickle thing here, but I'm not going to play it today. I think I've already overused it. But it's fickle is what it is.
Yeah.
Insert Daniel Bryan fickle thing here. It's fickle of the fans to now go, oh, well, now we love you, John Cena. This is your last year. So they weren't even doing for the past few appearances before Elimination Chamber, and even at Elimination Chamber, there was no John Cena sucks with his music.
No,
they've been cheering him ever since.
Yeah, but once he announced that he was coming back for the last year or whatever, like until they obviously did this heel turn, like he wasn't gonna there weren't gonna be any John Cena sucks chants. There weren't gonna be let's go Cena. This was gonna be a year's worth of, hey man, we know we gave you a lot of shit, but we really appreciated you and respected what you did for 25 years. We're going to the crowd was going to be 1000% behind John Cena all year.
Yeah.
When he talked about winning the Royal Rumble and going to WrestleMania and winning the title, the crowd was losing their mind. When he talked about doing it at Elimination Chamber, the crowd was losing their mind. The crowd lost their mind when he won the Elimination Chamber 5 minutes before he turned heel on Cody.
Yeah.
So it wasn't going to be this type of year. And then they did what they did, and now it's turning into it. And John is doing a really good job of leaning into the fan reaction and how that is. But still, it's been 2 weeks. Like I said, we have 3 more weeks until we get to WrestleMania.
Now, but there is one thing that I do want to address, though.
Yeah.
Next week.
Face-to-face.
We have another face-to-face. We know we're kind of pretty much going to get a similar thing.
I don't know. I think next week we need to have Cena tearing into Cody. I think that's what we need.
Well, I mean, the promo from Cena will be
to the crowd if they do it that way. Yeah.
We need to tie in The Rock somehow, because I don't know what's going on with that.
I don't think we see The Rock until WrestleMania or even the go-home show.
I don't know if we see him, but The Rock has to be mentioned, because there was obviously the story there that Cena and The Rock were in cahoots with each other, because the whole, this and we all saw the whole thing that happened. Where's The Rock playing into any of this? Because this is just like 2 weeks now in a row where he hasn't even been mentioned by either person.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about the whole Cena stuff, is he hasn't talked about any of that. He's talked about the fans and how the fans treated him and why he's acting this way because of how the fans treated him. He still hasn't addressed why he aligned with The Rock. He still hasn't addressed Cody really at all. So I think that's where
I do find, though, Cody not even mentioning it for 2 weeks in a row a little weird. But
yeah, I guess. Yeah. But I feel like, my thing is, I think next week is the week where John finally says something to Cody. And I think we need something, Cena comes out, he cuts a promo, Cody interrupts, Cody says his diatribe. And instead of John just walking away, I feel like next week we need to hear John kind of break Cody down verbally a little bit.
Yeah. Especially if that's going to be the last time he's on TV for a few weeks until Mania.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I feel like we need John verbally breaking down Cody, saying the things about Cody. Because if you look at how Cody is right now, different character, clearly different person, but like Cody is the Cena now.
Yeah.
That's who he is. Like the way he's booked, the way that's who he is right now.
Look,
and I think
I'm wearing
and
Cody merch now.
I think John next week, if anybody can relate to what Cody's doing and what Cody's going through as the babyface as the babyface champion, it's John Cena. If anybody can relate to that. So I feel like next week John needs to lean into that.
Oh,
your shiny new toy, Cody Rhodes. Correct. And he talked about the spinner belt. I gave you a new toy last night with the spinner belt 20 years ago, and you fucking hated it. Well, Cody's the shiny new toy, so you hate me now. You want me to get out. So I feel like next week is the week that he needs to lean in and say, hey, buddy, I know what you're doing. I know what you're going through. I know who you are because you are me. You're not anybody new. What do you think? You're special? Oh, Cody Rhodes, you're not special. I'm retiring, bro. They needed somebody else. It's fucking you. You are me. You are everything that these people hated about me 10 years ago. Just wait. Just wait. Because in a year from now, they're going to start booing your ass too because they're going to be tired of you. And I think he needs to start, breaking him down like that, getting Cody some doubt or some, whatever. We need some Cody doubt facial expressions.
What I expect from next week.
I think they don't
next week.
Yeah, I want to hear it because I have a question to ask you before we move on to the next thing.
Okay. Go ahead, ask the question.
I was going to say, do you think they get physical?
Yes.
Before Wrestlemania? I don't want them to.
You don't think so?
I don't want them touching until the match. I think that I think
you don't think them brawling or something next week?
I don't think it needs it.
And then Cena being off TV.
No, I don't think it needs
it.
No, I don't think it needs it. Maybe on the go home show, maybe.
That's so typical. I would rather it happen next week and not happen on the go home.
I don't know. I feel like I'm at a point now where I would be perfectly content if they don't touch until the match. I think I'd be okay with that. I
feel like it's been building to next week getting physical. Because,
maybe.
That you see the first one was John talks, Cody comes out, Cody talks to John, Cody leaves first, leaving John in the ring.
Yeah.
Cut, done. He doesn't talk anymore. This week was John comes first, Cody comes second. Cody starts getting a little more aggressive.
Challenge John.
Challenging. He looks like he's going to, pulls away. He then leaves first, leaving Cody in the ring.
Yeah.
I think now the logical progression is next week, maybe Cody comes out first.
That's what I think. I think that's what should happen. I think Cody should come out first, then John comes out. But I think John should leave Cody in the ring with Cody having one of his puzzled looks. Like John just verbally said something that made Cody go like, oh. And you just have Cody kind of looking in the ring like that.
If there's gonna be any physical stuff between them, I think it should happen next week. And then they touch next time at the match. I don't think it should be the typical go home blah blah. Like it doesn't have to be that every single time.
I agree. And that's why I'm kind of leaning towards, I don't think I need that. I mean, if they do, fine. I don't think it's going to ruin anything. I just wouldn't be opposed. Yo, good morning, Inferno. I just wouldn't be opposed if this was one match that they were like, you know what, this is kind of a, this is a big time match, first time Cena, Cody. We're doing this big angle. Like, we're not going to get physical. Get close to it, face to face, square up like last night. Get close. But I would be totally okay if they didn't. If they did, obviously it's not going to ruin anything. But I feel like I would be like, okay, when was the last time we had a big main event fight feel heading into a pay-per-view where the two people didn't? You know what I mean? Didn't brawl or didn't, I feel like
Cody and Roman brawl?
Well, they had fought the year prior. Are you talking the first time? Like before the first time they fought?
Anytime. I don't remember.
No, but I feel like Cody was out constantly going through the bloodline and being physical with them, heading towards Roman. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's been a long time since we've had a situation where there's a big time. Yeah.
But
usually what they do is they will get physical with each other.
If I'd rather it happen next week than go home.
And I do think
what I expect from next week is something physical. I expect John to finally verbally berate Cody.
Yeah, that's a definite thing I would think happens.
I have a weird feeling that there might be an AEW reference. I just have this.
Really? I don't know.
If anybody's going to do it, if this is going to happen, I feel like this would be the feud.
I don't think that helps anybody, to be honest.
Maybe he's not going to say AEW, the actual mention the company by name, but for sure, I feel like there's going to be some sort of an AEW reference.
That's fair.
Because John's were like, I didn't have to leave this company to go and be beloved by other people.
Yeah. I mean, he could lean into it. I don't think it would change much. But you definitely could lean into it.
And I hope, my last thing is that I would like for finally The Rock to be mentioned.
I would say there's a chance we see Rock on the Go Home show. I don't think we probably see him until Mania. If I had to guess, he probably shows up at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I would
expect him to be there. But
which is crazy considering last year's WrestleMania. But obviously he wasn't shooting a movie then.
Yeah, exactly. And he was wrestling on that WrestleMania, so it's a little bit like he's not. He's just gonna kind of be there for appearance, really, for the most part. Or maybe to take a stunner. Who knows? But yeah, so we are getting another face-to-face with these two gentlemen next week. We would assume it'll be a tad different from the last couple weeks which have been a similar thing. So whether that is them getting physical or whether it is John finally lacing into Cody verbally, I do expect something to be a smidge different next week when we kind of get the third face-off in a row with these two.
So thumbnail time.
Yeah. I mean, this again, I appreciated this promo. Obviously, what I hated right off the jump of this promo is we were back to I'm happy to be here, Phil. Even though he said right after, I'm not that in a good mood. Okay, well, if you're not in a good mood, don't say the fucking stupid shit at the beginning of your promos. Phil, happy to be here. Bullshit. I don't want happy CM Punk. I'm happy to be here in Glasgow, but you know what? I'm not in a good mood. I'm pissed off. So why are you telling everyone you're happy then, you liar? Anyway. So, CM Punk. I appreciate, can I just say off the rip? I appreciate, because CM Punk was sent out there to do the same thing that Seth Rollins was sent out there to do last week, which was, hey, you're going to go out there in front of the crowd, and you're going to promote a segment that is not happening in front of this crowd. And this crowd is not going to be thrilled that the segment is not happening in front of this crowd.
That was something I was going to shit on, so thank you for doing it for me.
So they did that with Seth Rollins last week, and an absolute nothing promo by Seth Rollins, which did nothing. He was just like, I'm going to SmackDown to see CM Punk and Roman. And the crowd was like, F you. We're not in Italy. We're in Belgium, wherever they were last week. Belgium, right? We're in Belgium. We're not in Italy. We don't give a shit about something happening in Italy, Seth. That's how last week reacted. So WWE had the foresight to be like, hey, Punk, you're going to go out there in Scotland tonight, and you're going to tell everybody that there's a contract signing in London on Friday. However, we know they're going to get pissed off, but you're going to turn that into ragging on Roman and Seth for not being here tonight and making them seem like they're the dicks for not being here because you wanted it to happen tonight here.
Yeah. It was.
Or they kind of, again, it was, it was at the end of the day, I thought Punk there was much more substance to this promo than there was to Seth's last week. But it was the same shit. It was hey, we have a big segment on SmackDown. Go out on Raw and talk about the big segment on SmackDown.
Yeah, and I don't think Punk thought that this was a good idea. Honestly,
no,
I can kind of see his mannerism, and also when he was mentioning, oh yeah, so on SmackDown there's this thing. And it's like, yeah, I wanted it to happen on this show
because he said, oh, he even said, he goes, oh, you're booing. Why are you booing? Is it because it's not happening here tonight? Like he openly talked about it. And the crowd's like, yeah. And
I kind of feel like that wasn't in the script.
It probably wasn't. He goes, oh, why are you booing? Is it because you wanted it to be here? And the crowd's like, yeah, no shit. And then he's like, oh, well, I wanted it to be here too, but Seth and Roman, they didn't want to be. And he turned it
Roman.
Exactly. Right. And he turned it into, hey, they're the jerks because they didn't want to do that in front of you tonight. So let's boo them while I then say that I'm going to fuck them up at Mania. And that's how he kind of turned this into not just what we saw with Seth. It was kind of a smidge different because Punk.
There was no need for Seth last week, and there was no need for Punk this week.
No.
It's just the hey, I'm here to get a big pop and get people to sing my song so that this way I tell you the physical thing is happening on the other show in a completely different area, not in front of you guys. It's just so dumb. It's so dumb.
And I just thought, again, they did it in a way that made Punk look pretty good, because I think it was pretty across the board that everybody hated that Seth Rollins promo last week.
The best line that he had was "I brought you into this."
Oh, I thought
I brought you into it, and now I'm going to be able to take you both out. I thought that was the perfect line.
Yeah, it was a good one. But I mean, he referenced he said he worked with children in this.
Yeah,
I loved it. Oh no, I loved it. I laughed hysterically. At that line. I work with children, and I was like, that is tremendous. See, I prefer him doing that than if Cena made an AEW reference last week. I think that would be hokey if Cena made an AEW reference to Cody last week. But Punk doing that one-liner, I was like, that's fucking perfect. That's perfect. It's hilarious.
I have moved on. Everyone else should too.
What do you mean? You just said that you want Cena to do an AEW reference, but it's not. But you moved on when Punk does one.
The Punk part of AEW
that was
very different from the Cody.
But I don't care about that. That's over and done with. But him making references and referencing that's fucking hysterical.
No, it's just I didn't mind it, but it's gotten to a point now where I'm just like, it's like these stupid morons on Twitter just fucking going at it again.
Why Pluggo does the same thing? Why the fuck do you care about these people? Why do these people bother you? You just reference them. Do you know how many times I reference people on the internet? Zero, because I don't give a single fuck what they have to say at all.
I don't care what they have to say.
I do though, because you just mentioned
it all the time. That's all.
So then just scroll past, bro. You don't have to. It's not like it's not on my feed. I don't give a shit at all. I don't care about you. Okay? Like, I don't know. I feel like people lean into we got to stop. You know why these trolls keep doing what they're doing? Because people care about what they're doing. If you don't care about what they're doing, they'll fucking disappear. That's how it happens.
They're not going to disappear, regardless.
Okay, but in your brain, they'll disappear because you don't care. They're there to ruin your time. So why let them? Yankees suck. So anyway, we're going to keep moving on. CM Punk. You didn't like the line where he called Seth a diaper piss baby? You didn't like that one? I thought that was a good line. Diaper piss baby. You didn't like that? That wasn't your favorite line? Did you forget about that one?
I did, actually.
You forgot about that? Diaper piss baby.
That was fucking hilarious. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
The black belt undisputed champion of being a diaper piss baby. That was the line. That was the line.
That was legitimately funny.
That was the line. Yeah. So that was good. He said that line. That made me laugh.
That made me laugh again. Thank you.
Yeah. And then he basically just said, "There's two guys." He said, "There's three of us. Two of them, it's very personal for. One of them, it's just business for." So basically saying that, like, hey, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money, baby. It's the first line he said when he came back.
I think also still playing with Roman on the, oh, he's not just your wise man.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was...
the more it goes, Drew, I think it is going to be Heyman in his corner. I think it is going to be Heyman in his corner.
That's going to be the favor.
I do. Because the match is already booked. He doesn't need to use it to get into the match, which I thought was going to be the reason why. I think it's going to be either Heyman in his corner or Heyman helping him win.
I actually think it might be Heyman helping him win.
Maybe. But that's the vibe that I'm getting. Is one of those two things.
John just turning heel, so it's like, do we need somebody else now, a major player, to turn heel too?
Yeah.
And you don't, but also...
That's why I think it'll be more, hey, my favor is I want you in my corner supporting me. Like, I want you to be my wise man during that triple threat match.
I feel like probably Punk doesn't go heel until Cena's at the end of this year. Or like, I don't know if they're going to turn Cena at some point.
I don't think John will be a heel.
So what we didn't mention, which is a very, very telling sign of what's happening this year, we are getting Cena and Punk again. And in Cena's promo, what we forgot to mention was that he basically just said, I'm taking the WWE Championship and I'm leaving with it. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it? So he's retiring with the WWE Championship and taking it and going home, and nobody's going to see it again. Sounds a lot like what somebody did around Money in the Bank 2011.
I mean, I think CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank for the world title this year would be the way to go. You can call it back. You can call it back. Money in the Bank. You can reference the 2011 one. You can lean as far in as what you want. And then it could be CM Punk is actually trying to save WWE and get the title away from Cena.
Right.
If John wins at WrestleMania, which I personally still think he will, but I see more and more people thinking Cody's going to win week after week after week. And it's making me not doubt my decision because I feel like John will win. But I'm starting week after week to kind of see an avenue where Cody beats him at Mania. But again, we have like almost another month before we get there. So we'll have plenty of time to discuss what we think will happen at WrestleMania. So let's move forward.
This
three-way, that's going to rule.
Absolutely should not be main eventing.
It will main event night one.
Shouldn't. Doesn't deserve it. But
I would make an argument that anything with Roman Reigns probably deserves the main event.
If Roman Reigns is at WrestleMania, he doesn't have to be the main event.
I agree.
There's 1,000 other people.
I agree. But I think the way that I wouldn't say more deserving. He was the champion for 4 years.
But for the past year, there's people that are more deserving.
I agree. Look, I'm an old-fashioned guy. I think if you win the Royal Rumble, you should main event. So
I'm not even talking about that person.
No, that's fine because I know you're anti that person. But I am of the idea that if you win the Royal Rumble, you should main event WrestleMania, and neither of the Royal Rumble winners are going to main event WrestleMania. So that's how much of an old school kind of wrestling fan I am. That's what I think. I feel like at the very least, the night one WrestleMania should be the other triple threat match that we'll talk about in a little bit for the title. I feel like that should be a worthy main event of night one would be the women's triple threat for the title with
As
those
much
three.
as I detest the booking of this,
I don't detest it. We'll talk about it when we get there. I don't detest it. I like the booking when it refers to one of the three people. I think they're doing a really good job of booking them a certain way in those three. So, but we'll get there. One thing I do want to say first, though, is I had been asking for something more in the Jey Uso Gunther program, and last night we got it, Drew. This was one of my favorite things that happened last night. As I said, give me something new other than Jey doubting himself.
I'm very happy this week.
And
Sandy, are you here?
I said it last week because everybody was like, oh, it's going to be Joe Hendry and all this stuff. And I said, it should be Jimmy. It should be Jimmy Uso. I said it here on Firmly. I said it on Beards. I said it should be Jimmy Uso. That is Jay's partner. That is what should happen. And last night it was A-Town Down Under versus Jey Uso and a mystery partner. And we saw Jimmy sneak up behind him in the entrance. And we saw the reuniting of the Usos. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was the right thing to do. They had a pretty standard to pretty good tag match with A-Town Down Under. They won.
It was nice seeing them tagging again.
Yeah, it was good seeing them team again. And they won a match against A-Town Down Under, as you would expect the Usos to do. But after the match...
Christ, am I a walking WWE shop logo
right you really
now
are.
or what?
You really are. Absurd. People are going to tune in. They're going to be like, look at these shills. Look at these shills.
Oh, just you wait. Just you.
Post-match. So post-match, Gunther hits the ring. He hits Jimmy out of the ring. Jey fights back, hits him with the super kick, hits him with another super kick, and then Jey Uso lines up for a spear. And Jey Uso slips on his way to the spear, which allows Gunther to beat him down until Jimmy gets back in the ring and Gunther runs off. So, last week, as we saw, and again, I don't care that he messed up a move. It's pro wrestling. I'm surprised more moves don't get messed up at the rate that these people go.
Yeah, really.
I don't care. I don't care that he messed up a move. Those people, I don't care. But he messed up a move last week. He messed up the dive last week. And they clearly, which I think is kind of smart by them, they didn't hide from it. They're not trying to pretend it didn't happen. They've actually worked it into the story that now Jey is doubting himself so much that he's fucking up. He's slipping up in the ring.
Yep.
And I think that is a smart thing to do. And I thought this segment was good. And then I really loved the backstage segment with the Usos later on in the night, where they're walking down the stairs and they're sitting down and Jey is clearly in his own head. And Jimmy goes, hey man, what's the deal with you, bro? The last month or so you've been, I know you're in your head, man. You're doubting yourself. Like, what the hell's going on? And Jey was crying during this promo. You could see he's emotional and he goes, of course I'm doubting myself, dude. People have been doubting me this whole time. It's getting in my head. I'm starting to mess up and, things like that. And he really gets into it and he's doubting himself and he says he doesn't know if he can beat him. And he knows what it's going to take to beat him, and he doesn't know if he can get there. And Jimmy stands up and he goes, you can't beat Gunther. And Jey says, I know. And then Jimmy goes, not this Jey. He goes, where's the Jey that was with us? Where's main event Jey Uso? Where's my sidekick? Where's my brother? Like, where's that guy? Because that guy can beat Gunther. He goes, this guy, you can't beat Gunther. You can't. He goes, but main event Jey Uso, that guy that got you here, that guy can beat Gunther. And he kind of gives him like brotherly love. And then Jey moves. And then we see Jimmy, like something catches his eye. And he goes into a hallway and it's Gunther. And he goes, hey man. He goes, next week, you and me. Which I loved. I love Jimmy going like, fuck you, buddy. I'm gonna fight you for my brother. Go fuck yourself, man. I loved it. And Jimmy goes right to him and he goes, next week, you and me. We'll see how good that goes for you. And Gunther, being the heel is like, okay, whatever. He goes, I'm not scared of you guys. Like, your brother's a joke. You're a joke. I don't care. And Jimmy slaps the shit out of Gunther. What a slap that was from Jimmy. Oh, he slapped the shit out of Gunther. I think Gunther
Jimmy was cosplaying Travis Scott there.
Yeah, I think Gunther was even surprised how hard that slap was. Like, if you see he was like, and then he started laughing. He was like, okay. Like, I think that even surprised Gunther how hard that was. But he slapped the crap out of him. And next week, we're getting a one-on-one match with Gunther and Jimmy. And I will say, I do expect that to be a competitive match. But at the end of that match, Gunther needs to basically murder Jimmy. That's what needs to happen.
And Jay will come out and save him.
Yes. But Jay becomes incapacitated and he has to watch Gunther murder his brother. Not really murder, you know what I mean? But beat the crap out of his brother. Like something like that. Just to bring it to a different
that would be an interesting what if Kaiser, an interesting reversal of what happened in 2020.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if him and Kaiser are still buddies, So what if he's starting to beat down Jimmy after the match? Jay comes out and Kaiser comes out and they get Jay becomes incapacitated or they hold Jay down or something happens and Jay has to sit there and like watch Gunther beat the shit out of his brother.
Yeah.
Something like that, just to make it a smidge, like just to make it more personal. Because I feel like it is
get in his head even more.
Exactly, and I feel like that's what we need to do. But I thought last night was a massive step up for this. I needed something like that, like a family, more personal, like emotional.
They're playing into the people were talking negatively about them playing into the slip ups and whatever. Like, no,
I think that's smart as hell. Yeah, I thought that was smart. Get ahead of it.
Very smart.
Something that the old
best booked. Honestly, it's for me at least, it's one of the best booked things going into WrestleMania.
As of now, it is. I did feel like it was kind of a dip, but I thought last night, because look at in past, they would have just expected that the fans would have forgotten about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they would have just said, oh, the fans will forget about that. And most fans would, but there's always going to be, those guys that you and Pluggo can't avoid. There's always going to be those trolls that are never going to forget things like that. They fucking wait in the bushes for things like that to happen. Then they come out with their fucking keyboards because they're losers. There's always going to be those people that don't forget that, cracking the jokes and doing things like that as if they could do any fucking better. So there's always going to be those people. But an old regime would have just assumed that we would have forgotten about that. But I think it shows the awareness of this current regime that they were like, okay, this happened. It was a mess up, but let's do this. Let's actually make this mess up an advantage for us. And they worked it into the story to give the story more legs. And I think that was a really good thing. I thought that was a really smart thing to do. I was very happy with what happened with Jimmy, him being the partner, seeing that reuniting of the Usos, and just that segment in the back with them, I thought was really good. I'm looking forward to a Jimmy Uso match with Gunther next week. Like, I'm looking forward to that match.
Yeah. Oh, with that slap. Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think they did a really good job of adding a more personal element with the family, finally, with Jay. And, that it put a jolt in this storyline for me. It certainly did. So that happened. We then had, more Judgment Day dysfunction, Drew. More Judgment Day dysfunction. We have a backstage segment with Judgment Day. Liv Morgan is giving Raquel a pep talk because Raquel is challenging for the women's IC title match against Lyra Valkyria, which we'll talk here about next. And then Dominic and Carlito roll up, and Dominic is looking down. He's a little in the dumps. And Liv goes over there, and she's trying to give him a pep talk, and she's being all cute with him. And she's like, what's going on? And he's like, I'm trying to help Finn, but I just can't get anything right. I think I'm doing the right thing, but he's angry all the time. And
this was a little bit of a different direction than what we've seen lately.
Yeah.
Because
she
was more.
She was like the mom.
Yeah, where she had been like previously in previous weeks, she was kind of like in the corner with Raquel or with somebody else going like shitting on Finn but
Yes.
now all of a sudden, like, she's sticking up for him. So, I was a little
I wonder
confused.
why. Are you? Do you not remember a long time ago that Finn took her hotel key card?
Well, yeah, I remember that, but that was clearly I don't know if they remember that because that was so
Maybe
long ago.
maybe they do, though. Maybe they do. A part of me, and we're going to talk about the end here, the main event, like a little later, obviously. A part of me thinks that Dom is going to be the baby, like Dom's going to be the one that is out here, not Finn. I think potentially we could be heading towards that Dom babyface run. I think it's real. I think it's legitimate.
I don't know if that's the right call right now.
I mean, what else is the right call? Dom leading the Judgment Day? Like, do you think Finn becomes a babyface out of this? The way he's been acting?
No, but
Okay. So what
I
happens then?
don't feel like
Do they just
right
stay together?
now I feel like if they introduce a new person into Judgment Day and that person is the one that kicks Finn out, that could make him a babyface, depending on who that person is. Now, it's not going to be Aleister Black.
It shouldn't be.
Because he is going to be on SmackDown, as we've seen. They're playing the vignettes of SmackDown. But I feel like Aleister Black would have been the perfect person to lead that group. No. But you don't think so? I mean, that's like
nope. I don't want him involved with a group or anything like that. To me, that is way too stereotypical that he would be the guy that would lead that group. That is just way too.
Okay.
He needs to be a solo guy by himself, dominating his way to the top of the card. I don't need him mixed up with groups anymore. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about Aleister Black.
Okay.
And I feel like Aleister Black going into the Judgment Day is one of the most, like, it would be like, yeah, it fits clearly, which is why people are like, oh, it would make perfect sense. But I feel like it making perfect sense in this case would be a detriment to him.
Okay. I don't agree with that, but fine.
I feel like he was just murked up in a group that had no direction for 3 years in another company, and now you're going to throw him in a group that has no direction.
But now he would be the direction.
For what, a couple weeks? And then what? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that helps Aleister Black. I think him being a solo guy, winning matches helps him more than anybody, more than anything. Because I think if he's the Judgment Day, yeah, he's a new guy in the group.
Aleister Black.
Aleister
Black. And I guess it doesn't have to be Aleister Black, but if a new person is brought into Judgment Day, they should be established as the leader.
I would agree.
That starts the true dissension of Judgment Day.
Yeah, which I don't disagree. I just think that I just feel like a returning Aleister Black. I don't know if I want that type of thing for him. I think I would rather have him just kind of be like, all right, this guy's back now. And now he's just on SmackDown, just fucking messing people up. As opposed to like immediately being thrown into this dysfunctional group with a bunch of, Carlito, Raquel, I don't know. I just feel like,
well, they wouldn't be dysfunctional anymore. That's
you would think. I don't know. He's going to be on SmackDown anyway, so it doesn't matter, I guess.
Right. So,
but I just
it's not going to be him. But
yeah,
if I could see Finn being a babyface, depending on the person that they bring in to be the new Judgment Day person.
That's fair. I think they can go either way with this. I think you could come out of this with Finn being the babyface and it will work. And I think you can come out of this with Dom being the babyface if you wanted to go that route, and it would work. I think either way they go, I think this is going to work.
I don't see it with Dom yet.
Because first of all, and we could talk about, it's clear after the main event, which we'll discuss in a little bit, that they're heading to a 4-way for the IC title at WrestleMania. That's what it looks like. Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Dom versus Finn.
And
that's the vibe I get.
One of two things is what's happening in this.
I think Dom.
Dom pins Finn or Finn
pins
Dom.
I think
there's no other.
I do expect one of the Judgment Day fellas to leave WrestleMania with that title. And I think it could be Dom.
Could be, and God Almighty.
That will be wild. That would be fucking wild. It will be so
Dominic
good.
Mysterio.
Oh, it'll be so good.
Champion.
And Finn will go fucking insane. He will lose his damn mind.
He might that might be the moment where he just turns on him.
But I think that's how you get Dom to be a babyface. Is you get Finn to snap like that. I still think there's a chance that Finn and Liv are working together. Because, like you said, most likely WWE
so far away from that.
I get it, but it was done for a reason. It was. I'm sorry, you did that all the way back then for a reason.
It was like a year ago.
Yeah, and then a couple weeks later, they both got out of an SUV. The same SUV. They both got out of Finn and Liv.
I don't see Dominic Mysterio being Intercontinental Champion, him being a babyface. I don't see that.
I think it's there. I think they could do it. I think they probably have Finn break away first, but I've said it for a while now. I think whenever they want to turn Dom babyface, I think it'll work. Because the crowd is behind Dom. They boo Dom, and Dom still gets the heat, but it's out of respect. It's out of respect because it's not the we don't like you, we don't want to see you heat that it was 2 or 3 years ago.
It's not. I agree.
He has those boos now because we've watched him become better, and we've watched him get better and turn into like an actually pretty good at this person. So I think he gets that heat. That's the one thing, Sandy, that I want to talk about because it feels wrong to me that they're having a multi-man match for the IC title at Mania and Sheamus is nowhere to be found.
Why?
Because he should 100% be in the IC title picture. It's the only championship he hasn't won, and it's been the basis of his story for like 2 years now.
Yeah, but he hasn't been on TV since like the
again, that's part of the problem. But if you're going to have a multi-man match for the IC title at WrestleMania,
in the Rumble?
Yeah, he was there. Yeah,
he was.
Yeah. If you were going to have a multi-man match at Mania, I just feel like Sheamus should be involved. The IC title has been the basis of his story for a while now. It's the only belt he needs for the Grand Slam. I'm not saying he had to win it, but I feel like he should be fighting for it. But it is what it is. I mean, this match is going to be fine. But where is Sheamus?
Putting him in now would be stupid.
Well, now you can't. No, now you can't. He should have been involved earlier on. But I'm just kind of like, where is Sheamus? Either way. What else did we have last night? Well, so we did have Lyra Valkyria versus Raquel Rodriguez for the women's IC title. And Lyra got the victory. Obviously, disadvantaged size-wise with Raquel. But again, and I'll say it again, dude. Lyra Valkyria, for a girl of her size, she's powerful. She is a very strong, powerful girl. And she held her own with Raquel, who's like double her size in this match. This match was fine, nothing spectacular, but it was fine. But it was another good title defense for Lyra. That's what she needs. Is she needs to build these title defenses to give herself more credibility as champion. And I thought it was fine. Post-match, Liv gets in there. They're beating down Lyra. Bayley makes the save. And then Bayley helps Lyra to her feet. And Bayley grabs the IC title. She looks at it a little bit. And then she hands it to Lyra, and she lifts Lyra's hand like, blah, 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 we're friends. But, yeah, so we got that going on. Makes me think that Bayley will be involved with the IC title at some point, either at Mania or somewhere around it. But it seems like we might be we probably think we get a tag match here next week or the week after. Bayley and Lyra versus Liv and Raquel. I'll tell you one thing I don't want, Drew, is I don't want the Women's Intercontinental Championship being involved in a tag team title match at WrestleMania. That's one thing I don't want. So
it's not. So.
I would hope not. I would hope not, because we've seen it happen.
I don't think the Women's Intercontinental Championship, the Women's the Tag Team Championship, the Women's United States Championship, none of those are making appearances on WrestleMania.
I would disagree. But I don't think all of them will, but I think one of them definitely will. If anything, this is the WrestleMania where those women's mid-card titles need to be defended at WrestleMania. This is their first WrestleMania since being, well, I'm not thinking of the word, I'm brain farting the word here, since being created, I guess. That wasn't the word I was looking for. But this is the first WrestleMania since the creation of these titles. If you want to make those titles matter, they need to be on the card. At least one of them. I could see them doing like, we're going to do the men's IC title one night, so that means we're going to do the women's US title the next night. Maybe not. You know what I mean? Like maybe they do, you know.
Who are the challengers right now, 3 weeks out, for all of those titles for the women?
Well, I think you can just easily do a women's multi-team. Easily. You got Liv and Raquel. You can throw Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson in there. You can throw
WrestleMania.
Yeah, why not? Why not? They've earned it. They've earned it.
They have not been on television for like months.
Okay.
On main roster television.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the best show of the week is not main roster television in WWE. So it is what it is. Like the best show they do every week is literally not on the main roster. So
well, it used to be Raw.
It used to be Raw. Well, I mean, Raw. Listen, Raw has been awesome. Last night was, last night was just to get me to next week type of Raw. Scott, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. So that is not.
WWE it does.
No, it doesn't.
And that's when it's going to happen.
No. Well, and if it does, that is a disservice to WWE, and they should hear a lot of shit about it. But it is what it is. We'll see. I just think it would be a mistake if you didn't have at least one. The women's tag titles are different. Those have been around for a while, and they haven't treated those with purpose forever. I expect Liv Morgan to be on WrestleMania. I would be shocked if Liv Morgan does not have a match on WrestleMania. So I'm expecting those women's tag titles to be defended. It'll probably be in a multi-team match because that's how they do things. But I would be 1,000% shocked if Liv Morgan did not have a match on WrestleMania. So that is kind of where I am when it comes to the women's tag titles. You don't have Liv Morgan have the year that she had last year and be the first person to pin Jade Cargill last week on SmackDown. You don't have Liv Morgan do what she did the last year to not have her have a match at WrestleMania. They love Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan will be on the WrestleMania.
Yeah, she'll be in Dom's corner for that match.
Maybe. I think you are thinking about the old regime. But we'll see. We'll see when we get there. Yeah. I feel like when I talk to you, Drew, sometimes I do feel like you still think the old people are running the show.
Well, I mean,
they're not. It's clear they're not.
Different.
Yeah,
it's not that different.
Yes, it is. It's watchable.
It's
watchable.
It's not that different behind the scenes.
Maybe, but the shows are watchable, and that tells me that it's a lot different because the shows were unwatchable for a decade. Unwatchable. And we sat there and watched them, but they were unfucking watchable. Now, it is not there.
It's one of these two brands is starting to become unwatchable.
Well, yeah, that's a little
maybe,
different.
and that's not Vince McMahon. He's not around. So
Scott, that would be a very bad thing. I know they're planning on doing an all-women's pay-per-view again this year, but that would be a very bad thing, I think, if they went that route. You know what was not a very bad thing, and what was, I thought, the best part of Raw last night was Dragon Lee versus El Grande Americano. What a fucking match these two had. This match ruled. And let me tell you, Here we go. See, now this is where we're going to dive into some stuff where I think people on the internet are being a little too babyish. A little too babyish here. So they did this. First of all, WWE, get that AI bullshit out of here. You don't need it. You're WWE. You're $1 billion company. You don't need AI doing your fucking vignettes. All right? You got great people. Hire great people. SmackDown is not watchable currently. I thought this past week's SmackDown was okay. I was very underwhelmed by the triple threat segment at the end, though, with Punk, Roman, and Seth on SmackDown. I was very underwhelmed.
Same.
Very underwhelmed. But I thought SmackDown was fine. It was fine. It's just weird. SmackDown is just on a funk. It's just not good. But they did this. Well, at some point, right? What'd they say? June?
Can't come fast enough.
Something like that? June? I don't know. So they do this vignette on the history. It's not Chad Gable. We still have no proof that this is Chad Gable. But so they do this. They do this vignette for Grande Americano, and they did it in a way that it looked very old school. It looked like footage you would have seen from the 30s, 40s, and 50s with the history of Grande Americano. And, you know, they have him, you know, they show him winning matches and being this hero of Mexico and all this stuff. He's coming from the Gulf of America is where he's from, the Gulf of America. And all this stuff. And then, see, this is where we're gonna have to have a conversation because there are people that cared about this way too much. That part of it, way too much. But so they do this vignette, that all happens. What I cared about more is on the AI on one of the vignettes, the guy had 6 fingers. The guy had 6 fingers because of the AI. Fucking idiots. But anyway, they do that. I thought it was funny. And then we have a match. So Chad Gable was supposed to fight Dragon Lee. He shows up to Pierce's office. He's got a napkin. He's coughing, and he gives Pierce. He says, "Hey, I woke up. I'm sick. Here it is. I have a doctor's note." Pierce looks at the doctor's note. Well, that's because it is still the Gulf of Mexico, Sandy. That's what it is. So Pierce looks at the doctor's note. And he goes, "Damn, it's legit." He goes, "It's legit. Match is off. Chad can't fight." And Chad goes, "Well, you know, I feel bad that I can't fight tonight. The fans here should still have a match. So why don't you put Dragon Lee up against the new guy? The new guy, the Americano guy." And Pierce is like, "Whatever. All right, fine." And then Dragon Lee goes, "No, it's all right. Whether it's Chad Gable, whether it's Grande Americano, I want to fight. I'm here to fight. Let's fight." So then we have Grande Americano versus Dragon Lee. And this match was the best match on the show. This match was the best match on the show. It was terrific between these two. As you would expect, it's Chad Gable versus Dragon Lee. They're two really good wrestlers. And they had a really, really good match. But at the end, Grande Americano rips Dragon Lee's mask off, which obviously at that point, Dragon Lee is not focused on the match anymore. He's covering his face. He doesn't want people to see his identity. And he gets put in the ankle lock, which oddly enough is Chad Gable's finishing move. And Dragon Lee taps out, and El Grande Americano gets a victory in his official debut on Raw. I will say this match was a lot of fun. Dragon Lee is somebody, they've done a lot of start and stops with Dragon Lee, but I think Dragon Lee is somebody that could be a main, like a strong mid-card contender / player for them if they really, he's good. He's very good. I thought, again, I am somebody, this is not a political show. We're not going to get into politics. Okay. I thought last night WWE wasn't trying to do anything besides be silly when it came to this. And as somebody who doesn't support a certain side of political things in this country, political things that really want that to be called the Gulf of America, I took it as what I just thought it was them trying to be funny. I thought they were just trying to be funny. It was just an attempt at being silly, making people laugh. I laughed when I saw it. But obviously, in today's culture, with the climate, there were going to be people that saw that and were, act like they.
You remember when I said reading the room?
Yeah. I don't think this was the case like that. I just don't. I think this was them just trying to be stupid, silly, funny. Now, I will say, I think that this is a road that they should be very careful about going down. I wouldn't go down this road more than what they did last night. But at the same time,
I don't expect it to stop.
I didn't have a problem with last night. I'm not one of those people that, again, you have the right to feel however you want to feel. But if you truly got offended that they mentioned Gulf of America twice, I think you're being a little sensitive. And that's somebody who vehemently disapproves of the people in charge of the American government. Like, vehemently disapproves.
Well, okay. So I won't say that.
I just think it was them trying to be funny. That's all. I didn't think it was anything too serious.
Well, they suck at being funny. Okay.
Did it work? Fine. I chuckled at it. I thought it was funny.
There is a pattern here, and it's not a pleasant pattern, and it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about because
it's fair.
It's again, yes, we are not political on the show. This isn't this isn't a politics podcast.
No.
But I am a little uncomfortable with the amount of lack of reading the room that this company has had for the past couple of months. And it's affecting my viewership a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Because they know now that at this point they are, at the moment at least, for the time being of this Netflix partnership, untouchable.
Yeah.
And it shows. It's showing. When you've got the people that you're affiliating to snarky and distasteful Puerto Rico comments.
Well, that's different. That's different to me.
Doing a roast of Wrestlemania.
Yeah. That I actually have a problem with.
You then have 2-bit hack comedians like Andrew Schulz parading them around. Logan Paul, who we don't have to talk about.
Oh, we do, though, because he had a great segment on Raw.
And the not outwardly public on WWE shows, but the very public support of a McMahon involving politics.
I mean, you mean the mother of the people that run WWE, the mother-in-law? What do you think they're going to do?
And it's still something.
I agree, but what do
Now, I'm not saying
are they not going to support their, Again, I don't agree with it, but do you want them to,
not a single mention of Black History Month last month.
That is something I did notice. That is something I did notice.
Single solitary mention.
Yep.
Not one person on TV. Not one person. Of any color skin. It's a little concerning.
Again, I think what we saw last night with Grande Americano is not the same to the other things you were pointing out. I think last night was not the same type of level.
I wouldn't put it on the same level, but it's an underlying.
Maybe.
Listen, I am going to put this out there very, very bluntly. Do not call me a white knight. I am not saying this because I am trying to say, oh, I'm sorry for my whiteness and I'm sorry for all this stuff. And, listen, you see, actually, this is perfect. You see you see the shirt that I'm wearing right now?
Mhm.
The American Nightmare shirt with the
He
red, white, and
saved
blue.
racism. I don't know if you knew that, but he saved racism.
Apparently, I've heard. I love these colors, and I love this country. Genuinely.
Yeah.
Now, do
So
I
do
have a
I.
flag? No. Am I waving a flag? Am I
No, because
am
we're
I doing all this
normal.
stuff?
It's
No.
not a part of our personality. You know what I mean?
I support everybody in this country.
Mhm.
Everybody. Everybody. I do not like what is going on right now. That does not mean that I hate what this country's values and morals are. It's not who the president is. It's what this country represents. And they're
Mhm.
trying to change that, and I hate that. I hate that.
I didn't want to go down the political route. I just
I
wanted.
didn't either, but it's at some point it could not be not addressed.
Yeah, I mean, I
It
don't
is
think the segment
uncomfortable,
last. Yeah, I get. Yeah, I thought it was a nothing funny segment. I didn't think it was
and
this
there are
serious.
people who listen. If you are Spanish, Latino, whatever, and you thought it was funny, fine. If you're anybody and you thought it was funny, fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But this is one part of a line of questionable things that have been happening as of late that you can't ignore it.
Eh.
And I'm choosing not to ignore it.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, again, I view this completely different from the other stuff. Should them being involved with Tony Hinchcliffe? That guy's a fucking loser. He's not a funny comedian. He says shit to get people riled up. He just said he's not funny. If you've watched any of his stand up, he's untalented, not a funny guy. For them to do the whole road, I mean, again, I'm not going to watch it because I don't care.
neither will
That
I.
that to me is a little different than a vignette with a one-liner, you know. I thought last night was just them trying to be silly with this Grande Americano and going over the top with it. That's all I thought. I didn't think it was anything more serious than that. The other stuff, that's different. The not having a black, we're used to this company having a Black History video every week during February. For them to not even reference it once, that's a problem. That's a problem. I'm not going to get on him for the Schultz thing either. I don't like him personally as a stand-up comedian, but he's one of the biggest stand-up comedians in the world. Sorry, like they are a business. That's how they roll. If they have a chance to get clicks and have a chance to get more eyes on their product by using someone that is very popular, and I'm sorry, that segment was good that they used him in. It was a good segment on the show. It is what it is. You have to look at things objectively too. It's just one of those things where that to me is different than a minute vignette that they created about an American luchador that, the one-off line of, it is what I am one of those people that I align with you with where you stand. I align with you personally, and I vote and I do things in a way that protects you and people and all people. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I am also one of those people that I can look at something and say, like, I don't need to be that upset about that because it's really not worth getting that upset about. And I think,
If it was just this one thing,
but that's all I'm viewing it on because that other stuff to me, it doesn't,
it's
I
the
think
same
it's,
company.
yeah, but I think it's stupid. But again, it doesn't make me not, I don't know. I view things in a way where it's like,
There are more people that feel this way than you may realize.
oh no, I understand that. I just think at some point, you just got to have some metal to you and just not let things like that bother you. Specifically, what we saw last night, because again, I thought at the end of the day, it was a nothing thing. The other stuff, that's different. That's a little bit more deep. But I don't know. I saw a bunch of people bothered by it last night, and I was just like, I just don't think it's that serious. It's a fucking the character is a joke. It's a joke character.
If you take it,
as
its own thing, it's not that serious.
And that's
see the other things, and listen, there was no need or any type of desire by anyone for this character to hail from the Gulf of America.
That is true. That I will give you.
It was a completely unnecessary thing to throw in.
Yeah.
Absolutely unnecessary. It could have been from, first of all, the Gulf of America is a fucking body of water. It's not even land.
Yeah. It's the Gulf of Mexico. All right. Is that
and it is also the Gulf of fucking Mexico.
It's the Gulf of Mexico. That's what we call it, because that's what the fuck it is. It's the Gulf of Mexico.
It is the Gulf of Mexico.
For the love of God.
And I will never seriously call it the Gulf of America.
No. And that's why in the moment I
come
was
after
just like,
me. Whoever you want. Whoever wants to come after me, please do. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, I don't care either.
But
see, this is where you have taken it to a level that I specifically at the beginning was like, we're not going down this level. We're not going down this road.
Well, it's
and then you were just like, no, we are, and now nobody wants to watch the show anymore. So that's
we're still at the same number of people that were watching.
Yeah, but that doesn't change. That doesn't go down when people leave. That's the views that we have.
No, that goes down, that number.
Just kidding.
It's something that has to act. No, seriously, this is something that actually needed to be addressed, and I'm glad that I finally addressed it.
Yeah.
Good. So it's
all right.
Yeah.
Again, it is what it is. We can move on. Again, fine. Earlier in the day, we had some good news that the Natural Disasters are going into the Hall of Fame.
Very nice. Happy for them.
I need Demolition to get in there, by the way. With that being said, Natural Disasters, a favorite tag team of mine. I grew up as a big boy. Still am a big boy. And the Natural Disasters were two big boys. And your little big boy, when I was a child, loved those big boys. Fucking jumping and smashing people and sitting on them and doing fat guy things. So it is what it is. But I thought that was really cool. Unfortunately, Earthquake John Tenter is no longer with us. But Typhoon, Tugboat, the Shockmaster, whatever you want to call him, he will still be there. Uncle Fred is what Cody calls him. But Tugboat, he'll be there to accept. But that's very cool. They were a very popular tag team in the early to mid 90s. Very well deserved. All right. We then have Adam Pearce gets down to the ring. He has the contract from last week in his hand for the WWE Women's World Championship match between Bianca Belair and Io Sky. And Pearce stands his ground. He says, last week happened. Rhea Ripley came out. She signed the contract, but he said that is not how things work. I want to make it crystal clear that Rhea is not in the match at WrestleMania. The match, he goes, boo if you want me to. Boo if you want. I don't care. The match is Io Sky defending against Bianca Belair. And he goes, and Rhea Ripley's signature on this contract means nothing because she already has a rematch coming. And I've been trying to get that locked down for weeks now, but Rhea is avoiding it. And he says Bianca is, she did, yes, 100% Ophelia. Fine, he tried to.
Small, tiny iota.
He tried to. Yes, he tried to.
It's the only good thing about this, honestly.
Yes. He says Bianca is owed an opportunity and Rhea only wants one on her time, but I am not doing that. Io Sky comes out. Io Sky says, I don't care about contracts. I don't care who it is. I'll fight both of them at WrestleMania because I am the women's champion and I'll fight them all. Pearce says he appreciates that she's a fighting champion, but he's like, I need you to hear me out. And then he gets interrupted by Bianca Belair. And he's frustrated. Pearce gets frustrated. Bianca makes her way down to the ring. She says, Adam is right. I earned my match. I went through the Elimination Chamber to get a one-on-one match for the title at WrestleMania. and I'm not about to let Rhea headbutt her way into this match. And then Pierce again grabs the mic and says, I agree. If you could all just let me. And he's trying to talk again, and Rhea's music hits, and Pierce he got more and more pissed as he got interrupted by every one of these ladies. I thought that was a funny part of this. He just gets more and more angry. So Rhea comes out. She says she doesn't give a damn about WrestleMania. Okay. Well, that doesn't make sense. But she says, I don't give a damn about WrestleMania. She says, I don't care who I have to go through to get the title back. All I want is my rematch. And Pierce goes, oh, now you want your rematch. I've been trying to get this rematch done for weeks. And Bianca goes, well, you can wait. She goes, you've already waited 3 weeks. So why don't you wait 3 more, and then you can get your rematch after WrestleMania. Io then steps in as Rhea and Bianca are starting to go at each other again. Io steps in, and Rhea, for the 3rd week in a row, somebody grabs Io's face and just shoves her away like she's an afterthought. Then Pierce gets angry. So Io Sky gets in. They try to fight. Pierce is pissed. He says, I have a solution. He says, next week, Rhea, you're getting your rematch. So next week, it's going to be Rhea versus Io once again for the WWE Women's Championship. And he says the winner will fight Bianca at WrestleMania. Thank you and goodbye. And Adam Pearce leaves. And as he leaves, Bianca and Rhea are still bickering with each other. Io charges in, and then Io kind of gets the best of them for the most part, but the segment ends with Bianca hitting a KOD to Io over the ropes onto Rhea, who is on the outside. Belair stands in the ring tall with the belt, and that's how this segment ends. Now, later on in the evening, Bianca Belair goes to Adam Pearce, clearly frustrated about her situation, and Adam Pearce goes, all right, I'm not doing this. We're finishing this once and for all. Bianca, next week, you're the special guest referee in the title match between Rhea and Io. And Bianca's reply, which made me laugh, was, I don't know how to referee. And he goes, well, figure it out because you're the referee next week. So next week, we have Io versus Rhea for the Women's World title. The winner will go to WrestleMania to face Bianca Belair. And Bianca Belair will be in the referee stripes, or not. They don't wear stripes anymore. But Bianca will be in referee garb as the special guest referee. Okay. Here's my thing. When it comes to these three, now yesterday, a lot of the diatribe on the internet was Bianca got booed yesterday. European crowd, but Bianca got some boos yesterday, and a lot of people pointed that out. So it is what it is on that front. To me, we're heading towards a triple threat match with 3 baby faces, technically, at WrestleMania. So the crowd is naturally going to pick someone to be the heel here. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a natural thing, I think. We're gonna see it on the men's side too. Like, one of Seth, Punk, and Roman is going to end up being more of the heel to the crowd of the, like, you know what I mean? Because they're 3 baby faces. We have 2 triple threat match happening at WrestleMania between 3 baby faces. That's what we have booked currently at WrestleMania. One on the men's side, one on the women's side. So I feel like the crowd naturally is going to pick one of these 3 women to be kind of the heel of this. And I feel like, at least last night, to me personally, Rhea is being booked as the heel here. Because she fucked up.
Yeah.
She paid too much attention.
Stupid.
But yeah. So she fucked up. She paid more attention to Bianca than she did Io. She lost the title. She screwed up. And she's trying to make up for her screw up and become involved in a match that she has no reason nor does not belong in. To me, that is her being a heel. Now, I think where Bianca comes off as a heel here a little bit is Bianca is complaining. Not saying that she's not justified, because she did go through the Elimination Chamber to earn a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. So she's correct in her justification of why this is a little bit of bullshit. But at the same time, I think to the natural fan, if you're whining or complaining about something, that's a heelish thing to do. That's a heelish thing to do.
So really, Io is the only babyface.
Yes, which is why earlier when we talked about it, and I said I like the way they're booking one person in this feud. In this, I love the way they're booking Io. Because I think they're doing... Pierce does not want this to be a triple threat match. Okay? I think the way that this becomes a triple threat match is Io goes to Pierce and says, fuck this, I want both of them.
No, that's not what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen.
Well, most likely, what do you think? Bianca's going to cost Rhea next week?
Decision that Adam Pearce decided after I thought he was smart in the first segment, he then becomes a dumbass in the second segment by going, oh, well, you're now going to be the special guest referee. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
That is stupid. You don't want this to be, you ban her from ringside. That's what you do. You don't literally put her in the ring. You ban her from the ring to make sure that she does not interfere, that this does not become a problem. To put her in the ring guarantees that it's going to become a problem. It's stupid. Yeah. It's absolutely stupid.
I didn't like the special guest referee part of it, but I think, going into this, and I think if you asked me right now, Drew, who do I think comes out of this at Mania? I'm still leaning Bianca. But I think
at this point, I don't want Bianca or Io to win. Oh, Bianca or Rhea to win.
Yeah,
I'd rather Io just retain.
But I think that's the way they're booking it. I think that's the one thing they're doing right here. Is I feel like they're booking it in a way where the crowd is really going to be behind Io.
Yeah, and how we got there? What a stupid fucking thing. But
I agree. I agree. But
even though I have this opinion,
the match is
I still think it should main event over the other triple threat.
I think this is going to be this is a match that could steal the weekend. This is a match that could steal the weekend with these three. It really could. I would really like this to main event night one. I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I think the other triple threat match will main event. But I would really love if this one did, because I do expect this match to potentially be the best match of the weekend. This has that potential with these three ladies. They are special, special, special. But I think it's been a very clunky and convoluted way of getting there. But I think whether they stumbled into it or whether this actually was part of the plan, I do think that this is working for Io. Of the three, I do think that this is working for Io.
I wouldn't want Io to be booked phenomenally out of this at the cost of making Bianca and Rhea look like absolute dumbasses. But that's just me. I have absolutely thought that there should have never even been a title change.
But I don't think Bianca has looked like a dumbass. I think Rhea has. Yeah. I think Rhea has looked kind of stupid. I don't think Bianca's looked stupid here. I just think Bianca has a problem with Rhea, but Rhea's been getting in Bianca's business, which is why I don't think Bianca's looked like a.
Well, the thing with Bianca,
Rhea's thing with the signature last week was just that makes you look incredibly dumb that you don't know how contracts work.
It's not even about the contract. It's not even about that. It's just the way that they're booking her to. It's so stupid. It's just so stupid.
Yeah. I mean, to me,
the thing with Bianca is that I don't understand her even being involved with this when there's the other thing happening.
With Naomi and Jade.
Like, she's not even like, she's like pounding away at the pod, screaming and crying that Jade is attacking Naomi. at the Elimination Chamber and has literally not even addressed it since. It's just like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, because it was all part of the plan.
Yeah, but it's not. This is not. If that was part of the plan, like if Finn and Liv was part of the plan, you don't just drop it and then go, oh yeah, there was that thing that we could just put it back right now. Let's just put it back right now. That's not how it works. It's stupid. So
I could see a situation where coming after Mania, Bianca wins the title, Jade takes out Naomi at Mania, and they're 1-on-1, and then Bianca goes, exactly. I think Ophelia just nailed it because Bianca thinks she got away with her plan working, so she's moving on to the next thing, which the whole plan was to get her to the championship again. That was the whole plan, was I'm going to use these two girls against each other to propel me to get back to where I belong, which is the champion of this company. And I think that she's mentally moved on from it because her plan worked. And she's in a main event match for a world title at WrestleMania, while the other two are just dealing with this shit that she doesn't need to be a part of because it's between them. And I think that is kind of how this goes. I could easily see Bianca winning this at Mania.
I like that. I like that as a story. I think that's how we got there.
That's fair. Again, I thought the contract signing last week made Rhea look real stupid. I just think I don't care how naive, how young, I don't care what you want to say. Making Rhea Ripley, who's arguably the biggest badass you have on the company, period. Having her, and I know you said you don't care about the contract. I don't either to an extent, but having her sign that contract and just act like she's part of the match now, that you look like a fucking idiot. You know better. I know better. If I know better sitting in my fucking computer chair, you know better. And you're a babyface. You're not a smarmy heel that would do something like that. Like, you're a babyface. You're supposed to, come on. You look like an idiot. And I think that Rhea, she's so over that, again, last night she came out, and even though I think Rhea has been the biggest heel of these three with the way she's acting, she still got the biggest pop of the three last night because she's Rhea Ripley. And she's over. She is the most over. So I just don't think the crowd is going to turn on her the way that they're going to turn on Bianca. And I feel like Bianca is going to be the heel of the three going into Mania, even though it should be Rhea. With the way the three of them are acting, Io is clearly the main baby face of the three, clearly. And to me, Rhea is the clear heel of the three.
What was just being said is Sandy said Bianca will lose because of Jade. I think that's probably the best thing to do. That takes Jade out. Yep. But then I don't think Rhea should win.
No, I think either. Again, if you were asking me right now, I would still pick Bianca. But I think the way they're booking this, I think Io retaining is growing as my pick as we go week after week.
Yeah. That's what I would honestly prefer at this point because
I feel like that's how they're trending. Yeah.
Rhea doesn't deserve it for fucking sure, and Bianca doesn't either in my eyes. So Jade taking out Bianca makes sense.
Yeah.
That will be the reveal that Bianca was actually involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rhea's just God. If Rhea ends the show with the championship, that would just be
because I think what you can do is because technically Bianca is a smack. I know the draft doesn't matter. All right, I understand this, but technically Bianca is a SmackDown wrestler. She just won the chamber, and the only title that was left for her to choose was the title that was on Rhea Ripley's waist at that time, which is a Raw thing. But Bianca is aligned with SmackDown. So after WrestleMania, you would assume Bianca will go back to SmackDown to deal with Jade and Naomi and what's happening over there. And then we would have a Rhea Io continuation.
Is it Naomi or Naomi?
I think it's technically both, but I call her Naomi. But that's just because I feel like I think it's Naomi, to be honest with you.
That's what I always say.
But most people, I think it's because who was the famous model? Naomi Watts? Was that a model in the 90s? Naomi Watts? Is that who that was?
I believe that was her name.
I think they pronounced her name Naomi. So whenever I see that, I just say Naomi naturally.
Oh no, that's a British actress, Naomi Watts.
Okay, but that's another one. Her name is Naomi. So, no, there was a famous African American model in the 90s. And her first name was Naomi,
Campbell.
and it was spelled
Naomi Campbell.
That's right. Naomi Campbell. And it was so Naomi Watts and Naomi Campbell spell their name the same way as Naomi, but they both pronounced it Naomi.
Because that Naomi is British. So they say Naomi.
So whenever I see the name spelt that way, I always say Naomi because the two famous people that I knew with that name pronounced their name Naomi. But I think the wrestlers, it's Naomi. I think it's Naomi, the wrestler.
She's always her.
That's just
everyone who says her name says Naomi.
Naomi. But I just think
the other ones were British.
The natural thing for my eyes, I go, oh, Naomi, because that's how we say that name. But it's Naomi Campbell. Wow, I remember her. Anyway, God bless. So again, I think it's been very convoluted because we still don't even have the triple threat match because obviously something's going to happen in this match next week that is officially going to get us to that. But yeah, I mean, I, like everybody else, I'm excited for this match. I think this match will be one of the best matches at Mania, but I think this has been very clunky. Although I love what they're doing with Io. It's very weird because I love what they're doing with Io of this
I don't
story.
even really love what they're doing with Io because I don't like she looks like while Rhea is being booked like a petulant child.
Yes. Io's being treated like
Bianca one. And Rhea, Io looks like a literal child because of how size.
Yes, so, and I think they're leaning into it so good. So well.
I don't like the pie facing shit.
I think it works
every week.
But I think it works. The crowds are getting more riled up every week
and that whole,
they do
like,
it. I will say this.
Whatever that was, it was not a brawl. It was just
and I will say this, that was the part of this that I hated the most. I felt like that was way too choreographed. That should have been more of a fight
for it. Yeah.
That should have been more of a fight / brawl between the three of them. Like they're doing reversals and flips and moves into other moves. It just felt like it was way too choreographed
compared to all the brawls
for what that was supposed to be. Yes.
That looked very choreographed. That was a very good word for that.
And that's what I had a problem with. I didn't have a problem with Io looking strong and then Bianca standing tall. I had no problem with that part of it, but the moves that it felt like they were waiting around. Well, at one point, Rhea's like just hanging on the ropes for what felt like 40 seconds for Io to hit some sort of flippy move on Bianca that sprung Bianca into a clothesline to get like I'm like, why are we just waiting around? This is not a match. This is not a match. Like, why are we waiting around? You guys should just be fucking attacking each other. That was the one part of it that I was like, that felt like it should have been a brawl. That should have been more of a, even if you want to do a few moves, cool. But like that should have been, that would be I would say the agent. I would say the agent. But I also think in that moment, you are WWE superstars. If you're in the ring and you're feeling the crowd not react, like switch some shit up, dude. Switch some shit up. You telling me that Rhea couldn't have just like speared one of them or just tackled one of them to the ground and then you just started brawling?
Well, remember too, the other wrestlers have to have that timing and that foresight to go, let's do something else besides what's been scripted for us to do.
Yeah. So. And I just felt like in that moment that the way they choreographed that little fight sequence, it felt too planned. It didn't feel like, oh shit, they're just going. There's just a fight like we normally get. It was like, oh yeah, they're doing okay. Oh, here he comes.
Wow, the first time. It's been an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah, there he is.
That's not usual.
Excuse me, sir. We're starting to end the show. Okay. So wait. Here it comes. Oh. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I love you too, big guy. Come over here. Nope. Sir, over here. He's going to try to knock my mic out. Anyway, we have just the main event to discuss. And then we will make our. He's fucking unbelievable, isn't he? Look at him. This needy bitch. Doesn't want me around. I'm sorry, I'm not yelling at you. Doesn't want me around 95% of the day. But the hour and a half that I'm here, he's like.
You're very lovely today.
He is. He's being very lovely. It's because he's going to go take a nap soon. And he's like, I need my pets before I go sleep away and want nothing to do with you until you're busy later. And then I want something to do with you. We can talk about that, Sandy. On SmackDown, they did do the side-by-side promo.
There are a couple of... Let's get to this main event, and there are a couple of things.
So the main event was for the women. No, not for the women's. It was for the men's IC title. We had both IC titles on the line last night. Lou, no, I'm here, bro. Bro, I'm here. Okay. Well, Lou's like, fuck you, buddy. He's like, I tried to get some pets. You're a dick. So anyway, the main event.
Fuck you, buddy. Open the door.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, screw you. Open this door. Even though he knows how to open it. Unbelievable. Braun Breaker defending the IC title against Penta. A match that I thought was going to be a one-on-one match at WrestleMania, but they were like, nah, we're doing it on Raw. Okay. Obviously, this is a match that everybody wants to see. I thought what we got out of this match was good. However, it obviously ended in a schmoz. Carlito and Dom made their way down about halfway through the match. And then it looks like we're starting to get to the crescendo of the match where Braun Breaker was lining up Penta. And Dom just gets in the ring and he chop blocks Braun Breaker. We get a DQ. They're beating down Braun Breaker. Penta gets involved. And then we see Finn Balor show up. He hits Braun Breaker in the back with a chair. Braun Breaker gets taken down. Dom starts wailing on Braun Breaker with the chair. Penta comes to, and Dom gives Penta. So earlier in the night, Penta was in the back, and Dom rolled up to Penta, and he said, hey, and he goes, I want you to join the Judgment Day. And Penta starts to talk, and Dom interrupts it and goes, hey, man, you don't have to say anything. He goes, but just know, like, things could go really well for you. Like, you could be IC champion tonight. Kind of like letting him know, if you side with us, like, we'll make sure you win.
Right.
Type of thing. So fast forward, the end of this match, they're beating up Braun Breaker with a chair. Penta comes to. Dom gives the chair to Penta. And he says, hit him, man. Join us. Join the Judgment Day. Hit him with the chair. Penta thinks about it. He looks at the crowd. The crowd's like, no. And he throws the chair at Dom, and he super kicks the chair into Dom's face. He goes after Finn. Things like that. But then Finn attacks, and they beat down Penta, and the show ends with the Judgment Day standing tall. Dom once again grabbed the IC title and stared at it a little bit. And that's how the show ends. And then we had a report yesterday as well that said that they are heading towards what we talked about, a 4-way multi-man match for the IC title at Mania between Penta, Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. The last 2 weeks, Raw has ended with the IC title picture being the last thing we see in the main event. But I thought overall, the ending of this match was a little lackluster for me. I'm looking forward to the 4-way. I think it will be good with those 4, but I thought this was kind of a lackluster. Not so much the match with him and Penta. I was digging that, but the chop block and kind of the DQ finish. And even though I know it's setting up to a bigger thing, it just kind of felt a little lackluster.
Yeah. I'm not feeling a lot of this WrestleMania build for a lot of things, and it's really unfortunate because it's a very, very stark contrast to last year where I was 100% on board. And of course, extenuating circumstances, find a boss, all that stuff. But the Cena heel turn I thought was going to be like the thing that was like, holy shit, I'm into this build for the WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's all right. Multiple matches could have just been singles matches and didn't need the addition of 1 or 2 extra people. It's not like great, and we're going to talk about a couple things from SmackDown, one that I do like and one that I do not like. But yeah, the Finn continuing to do what he's been doing for months now that we both addressed multiple times, of adding to the tension instead of relieving it, or making it all about himself. It's coming to a head now, and it's because they've been dragging it out and dragging it out and dragging it out, just like with a lot of things. To WrestleMania, they're dragging it out and dragging it out. But I wasn't. I was a fan of this whole thing, because it's like, okay, so this is the logical thing that will now happen as a result of what happened here, is Finn pins Dom, or Dom pins Finn at WrestleMania. I don't know which one yet.
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect way to get the title off of Braun Breaker so he can make the rise to the main event, because he's clearly on a trajectory to be a world champion and main event guy. I think it's a perfect way, a multi-man match, to get that title off of him. But I do think that's the route they're going to go. One of those Judgment Day guys is going to win the title, and the other Judgment Day guy is going to be pissed off about it. And that's how you kind of move on to the post-Mania IC title, whether it's Finn chasing Dom or Dom chasing Finn, or however they do it. That's where it feels like we're getting. Even though Penta's in it, and Penta's hot as hell, and I wouldn't mind Penta leaving as the IC champ, truly, because he's over and he probably should, of the 4. But I feel like it is going to be a story about the demise of the Judgment Day that is revolved around the IC title. I think Dom winning and Finn snapping is a fun thing to do, because I feel like Finn has been miserable. He needs something that is the last straw before he, the straw to break the camel's back, as they say. And I feel like Dom sneaking an IC title victory at WrestleMania would be that.
Well, I actually feel like, to get to Finn being the heel and Dom being the face, I think Finn actually should be the one that wins.
I'm not against it.
And then they kick Dominic out of Judgment Day post WrestleMania and reveal that Finn and Liv were in on it the whole time.
I mean, that's what they should do. That's what I think they should do. But at the same time, you even say, if they were going to do that, then they're going to bring in part of the story that happened a year ago that most people probably have forgotten about, the key card and all that stuff. And they're going to spin it that Finn and Liv have been working together this whole time as the masterminds, and Dom is a pawn.
That's the only way I see Dom coming out of this as a babyface. I do not see him a babyface with the title. I think he needs to needs to be the one that gets pinned. Finn wins the championship. Then on Raw the next night, or if they do it on Saturday, on Monday, on the following Monday, the Raw is Finn and Liv revealing that they've been in cahoots and kick Dom out of the Judgment Day. And that's what makes Dom a babyface.
I'm okay with it. I think Dom becoming a babyface works. I think it works. Asian Joe, I'm not against that.
It's about time Finn Balor actually wins something.
Yes, I agree. Finn Balor needs another singles push that matters. And I think Finn as the IC champ, just having great matches and defending that belt all summer, that's a good spot for Finn Balor. I think that is a very good spot for Finn Balor. And I think it's more than deserving. That guy,
and a good friend of mine, will be very, very happy about it.
Yeah, I will also.
He's a Finn Balor stan.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider myself a Finn Balor stan, but I think
I'm not talking about you.
I know, but I'm saying I do think he needs to be utilized more. I know he's been in charge of, and he's been on TV every week, and he's part of a big group. He needs to be winning matches, winning titles. He's that type of guy. But Asian Joe,
you were saying something.
No. Well, Asian Joe said have Dom win it, then Penta can team up with Phoenix when he gets here and they can do tag team things. I think eventually the Lucha Brothers will be a thing, but I think they're going to establish Rey Fenix as a solo guy on SmackDown.
I'm assuming by what Joe is saying there that he means that Dom and Finn would be tag teaming together. Have Dom win it, and Penta can team up with Phoenix, and then do tag. So okay. So
I think he just means Penta not winning the IC title, and then the Lucha Brothers can be.
Okay, got it. I thought that he meant like Penta and Phoenix, and then Dom and Finn.
No, I think he just means I think he just means the Lucha Brothers doing a thing, which I do think happens. But I do think they're going to establish Rey Fenix as a solo guy on SmackDown, like they've done Penta on Raw.
Yeah,
and then we'll get them together at some point, and they'll kind of roll that way.
Yeah.
But I do think we see it. All right, so quickly, let's touch a few things on SmackDown. The big things that came out of it, one of the things I liked is I really did like the Kevin Owens, Randy Orton stuff at the beginning of the show. I think that is a match that I am genuinely excited about at WrestleMania.
I'm going to tell you for real.
Yeah.
That match, Cody and Cena and Gunther and Jay are the 3 matches that I care about right now. I don't give a shit about anything else.
Okay. That's fair. But I did think that was a good opening segment with KO. And, he apologized to Randy. He said, I shouldn't have done what I did. You didn't deserve that. He said, Cody deserved what he got. Sammy deserved what he got. He says, but I was angry with you and I did something. And he said that I regret. He said, I regret doing what I did to you, Randy. And he said, and if anybody can relate to that, it's you. He goes, you've done a lot of things in your career that I'm sure you regret looking back on. And I thought that was a good way to do it because Randy has done some dastardly shit in his career, some dastardly shit. And he says that Owens says he can forgive Randy for taking Cody's side if he can forgive KO for attacking him. He mentions, what happened with Carmelo Hayes the week prior and stuff like that. And I just thought it was really good. Randy kind of clapping back as well. He asked Orton for an answer. Can you forgive me? Randy says he should roll out of the ring, run down there and beat your ass all over the damn arena. He goes, but what you said was intriguing, KO. He goes, I've never heard Kevin Owens admit he was wrong. But Orton says, but I can take that half-hearted apology and shove it up your ass. He says, I can do whatever it takes, whatever you have to tell yourself to sleep at night, but the only thing you deserve is for me to kick your head off and kick your head real hard with the punt. He goes, because you've gone from fight Owens fight to bitch Owens bitch. He says, I shouldn't drop you on your head. You're trying to save yourself. Dropping you on your head was great because it brought the voices back. He starts going into his song. You dropping me on my head brought the voices back. They counsel me. Like he's making little song references.
Yeah.
They understand. And he goes, and at WrestleMania, I'm going to kick your head clean off your shoulders. So we are building to the punt. We are building to the punt of Kevin Owens from Randy Orton. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. This is a match I'm genuinely looking forward to. Another thing that happened was we had a number 1 contenders match for the WWE United States Championship, Drew, on Friday between Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu, as these guys have been going at each other for a while. The match was fine, but what happened at the end was Braun Strowman got a win by DQ because Solo Sikoa got involved and cost Jacob Fatu. And we are starting, we're not starting to see it. Jacob has always had that side eye towards Solo since he's come back. But I think that's the start of Jacob Fatu finally.
I'm interested in that.
Yes. I thought that was a good little wrinkle. Ophelia has been telling me that she's waiting for Jacob to yell, I hate you, Solo. That's what she's waiting for. Not the I love you, Solo, but the I hate you, Solo. Sandy, it does feel like we're getting Jacob versus Solo at Mania.
It's very interesting how, Bloodline, ever since last year's Mania,
Mm-hmm.
And really, I mean, through most of last year, one of the main focuses of the company, if not the main focus of the company, was Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like maybe 5th tier at this point because
Yeah.
it's so not a thing anymore, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy how it's like the Bloodline was from like 2020 to even just up to like around the Rumble of this year, a heavily dominating storyline in WWE.
Well, I
Afterthought,
mean,
beyond an afterthought
yeah.
right now.
Well, I feel like the main two people that made. I mean, I agree, but I feel like everybody's doing separate shit now. Roman's doing his own
I'm
thing.
happy
Jey
about it. I
Uso's
mean, I'm
got
not like
yeah.
hating
So I
it.
feel like yeah. And it feels like to me that this is just a big, massive setup to make Jacob Fatu a superstar. That's all they're doing. They know that Jacob's going to fight Solo. He's going to beat Solo, and Jacob Fatu is going to be kind of that next guy. And that's what they're going to do there. Another thing that I found not shocking, but I liked it, was we had the return match of Jade Cargill on SmackDown. She went one-on-one with Liv Morgan, and she got her first ever loss. Liv Morgan beat her, pinned her right in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the ring.
I was a little surprised about that.
I was very surprised, to be honest with you. But if you are going to have someone do it, Liv Morgan is the perfect person to do it.
Of course, Naomi was pretty much the reason, so it makes sense.
Of course.
And
I think Liv is the perfect opponent to get that win. It fits the Liv vibe, the Liv character, that she's the right person to get that win over Jade. And then Naomi attacked the shit out of Jade after the match, beat the crap out of her.
Did you see the Mona Liva?
No, what they call it, the Livalisa. The Livalisa,
whatever.
First of all, that wasn't planned. Like, a fan just made that.
Yeah, that was insane.
That's crazy. Like, she met them and signed that after the show, I guess, and that's nuts. That was a crazy.
And it was really good.
It was. It was. Holy shit. Yeah, so I thought that was really cool to see. Yeah, and I thought that was really good to get that loss out of the way for Jade. Like, first match back, let's just have her lose so we don't have to worry about the undefeated shit anymore. Like, let's just focus on the story. I thought it was really good. They continued the Drew and Damian Priest stuff. That was fine. The other thing that people are talking about is they had a side-by-side sit down with Charlotte and Tiffany. Yeah. I think that
not
Tiffany
in that way. I'm not woofing in that for that reason.
No, I think Tiffany is struggling big time as a babyface. That was
awful.
I don't even think it was. I think Charlotte kind of bullied her, and I think Charlotte did it on purpose to make her look bad a little bit. I felt like that was
just bad.
Yeah, and I think there's been a couple reports that came out that said that WWE kind of put Tiffany in a purposeful sink or swim situation with Charlotte. And I do think that Charlotte, how do I say this? Charlotte's the heel in this. So I think it fit with what the story was of her being a bully and like interrupting Tiffany the whole time. And, everything she said, she said a one-liner after that to make Tiffany look stupid. But I feel like that was kind of done. I don't know. I get the vibe that was done to test Tiffany a little bit. Because I feel like Tiffany's really having a hard time finding her babyface character. Because she's naturally a heel.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
She's naturally
a babyface, so it's
But
and people have been cheering her like crazy.
Yeah, because she's over and she's good, and we know how good she is. It's one of those things to me where I feel like she should be a babyface because she should be a babyface, and I think she can get over as a babyface. But I think you really just have to keep her how she was. Like she can still be a babyface and be the same Tiffany Stratton that thinks she's like kind of better than people, but just have her only talk crap about the bad people. That way she's a babyface talking about the people the crowd want to boo, and it works. I think they're trying to make her that goody two-shoes kind of over the top, like white meat babyface. And I feel like that is not her character, and I feel like she's struggling with it. With it. And I feel like they're not doing Tiffany any favors. With that being said, I still think the right choice is for Charlotte to put Tiffany over at Mania. I don't think that will happen. I think Charlotte will win the title at Mania, but I think it would be better for everyone if Charlotte put her over. But I could also see Charlotte winning the title, and then they continue this feud and try to ramp Tiffany up to maybe win it back at SummerSlam or something like that. They could do that. I don't know. But so far, yeah, exactly. I feel you. A confident, mean girl babyface character can work. It can work. I just think they don't want Tiffany to do that right now. They don't want Tiffany to be a mean girl. They want her to be the typical goody two-shoes babyface, and that's just not who Tiffany is. It's just not who she is. And I think Charlotte kind of bullied her in that segment. And I thought it came across that Tiffany struggled big time in that segment, and I didn't think that was a good look for anybody. And I've been as big a Tiffany supporter as there is since their NXT days. Like, I love Tiffany Stratton. To me, she is a top of the top superstar in the company, but they're doing no favors with how they kind of want her character to be right now. That is not her strength. You need to lean into her strengths, and her strengths is that mean girl. That's just who she is. But like Ophelia said, you can be a mean girl and still be a babyface. Just for some reason, they're just not wanting her to do that right now. And I think the program is struggling because of it. And yeah. So I didn't want to discuss that because I did think that was not a great segment. That was not a great segment. And this was one of those matches that I was looking forward to when we kind of saw the writing on the wall. I was like, oh, that'll be good. And I know Charlotte brings a lot of people that are fucking whatever. That's fine. But this was a match that, and I still think the match
is this not literally what signifies those people were right?
But I think this is more on how they're booking Tiffany than Charlotte being involved in this match. I think Charlotte being the opponent of Tiffany is the right opponent. I just think Tiffany should be standing up to Charlotte and saying, hey, I can get dirty too.
What happened last Friday is what proves that she was not the right opponent, at least right now.
Again, I didn't expect them to change Tiffany's character the way that they've changed it. Because even when Tiffany first cashed in and she won the title and was getting babyface reactions, Tiffany was still kind of being that mean girl character.
Oh, she was still being booked as a heel.
Kind of, but the crowd was behind her. Yeah, and then Charlotte was picked, and then they were like, no. Yeah, and I think that's where the problem happened. Where if they would have just kept Tiffany's character the same and just had her going at Charlotte, the crowd would naturally be way behind Tiffany because nobody likes Charlotte. But they decided to just change her character completely, and it's not working. I agree, Scott. Tiffany's too good. She will get it together.
What would have maybe been the best thing for them to do would be actually have Charlotte and Tiffany at the tag team. Tag team.
The coexisting thing?
No.
They coexist?
I'm saying that Charlotte doesn't get involved in this at all until after WrestleMania. Tiffany loses the tag title to whoever, goes back to being a heel, and then they meet up and they become the absolute asshole tag team that they probably could really thrive as together.
Yeah.
Because they're like the same person.
Almost. Yeah. And that's why the match was so like the writing on the wall of this match was so just, we were all like, yeah, that's definitely happening because they are a spitting image of each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
they are
turning out that it was actually not a good idea because Tiffany is not honed in on being a babyface, and Charlotte is an asshole. So, as a result, Friday happened, and it's revealing this wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, I disagree. I think Tiffany. I don't think the match is a bad idea. I do think it's the best match for each of them to have at WrestleMania. I think them having Tiffany be this character is the problem. If Tiffany was the same old Tiffany that she had been before this, I don't think we have a problem. But they're trying to change Tiffany's character completely 6 weeks before her biggest match of her career. And I don't think that's a smart thing and setting up your people to succeed.
But they also did a disservice by flip-flopping her character multiple times in just a couple of months. And then leading into WrestleMania, leading into the Rumble, she was
hot as hell. Over.
And being booked as a heel.
Like a tweener. At the very least, a tweener. At the very least.
Well, no, it was really mostly the whole Nia thing. After she cashed in, she was still 100% a heel. There was no tweener there.
But it worked because everybody hates Nia, so it worked. And it would have worked here because everybody hates Charlotte.
She was cutting promos still as a heel.
Yes, and I feel like they shouldn't have changed that. But they did, and it's not working.
No, they should have changed it because she should be a babyface. But the problem is that she is not a good babyface yet because she still has the mannerisms and exudes a heel while trying to play a babyface character. And it doesn't really work for her right now. So that segment on Friday was god-awful because she didn't know how to one-up Charlotte, and Charlotte dog-walked her.
Oh, Charlotte bullied her. Absolutely bullied her.
It looked awful on Tiffany's part because she could not come back at anything Charlotte said.
Yeah, Charlotte bullied her.
She sounded so scripted and monotone compared to Charlotte just acting natural, because that's how Charlotte acts. Like, she's perfect at that. She's perfect at that. So I have no negativity to say about Charlotte in how she was presenting herself, because that's 100% Charlotte, no doubt. But Tiffany doesn't know how to, or she's starting to show signs of life as a babyface, but it's not to the level of competing with Charlotte.
Not right now. Not right now. With the cookie cutter babyface that they want her to be, not right now. Not right now. Now, again, we still have 4 SmackDowns, including this Friday, to get to WrestleMania. So crazier things can happen. But Ophelia, that's a good point. Maybe that is part of the story. I don't know if it is or not. But there's a way, like they turned the Jey Uso mess up into part of the story. There is a way that they can turn that disaster on Friday into part of the story. Yeah, you've been blurry for like 30 seconds or a minute now.
There we go.
But I do think there is a way they can turn that disaster from last Friday into part of the story. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that was all the stuff on SmackDown. The 3-way stuff that happened at the end, I was very underwhelmed with. We don't have to talk about it.
Don't even care.
But it was very underwhelming. But other than that, are you guys ready for Pretty Deadly to win?
Team.
Are you ready for Pretty Deadly to win the tag titles in their home country on Friday, babes? Yes, boy. Is everybody ready for the best tag team?
Well, no, because obviously DIY are going to cost the match. They're not winning the titles on Friday.
No, that's all right, Drew. Give it time, bro. I know you're just doing it to spite it, but give it time. They are the best tag team on SmackDown. They are the best tag team on SmackDown. They should win the titles. They won't, but they should win the titles.
Excuse me, Los Garza is the best tag team on SmackDown. Very good. How dare you say that?
Very good. Very good tag team. I like all the I'm going to be honest with you. I fucking love the tag team division on SmackDown. DIY, Street Profits, Los Garzas, Pretty Deadly, Motor City Machine, like that. Give me now. Do that on Raw. Find teams on Raw. Because what they've been doing for the last couple months on SmackDown with the tag titles, I'm in. Those teams are all good. And I like it.
Who are the tag team champions on Raw?
The War Raiders.
Oh my God, I totally forgot.
Now, again, the War Raiders themselves, I like what they're doing, but who are they? They have no challengers.
Yeah, they're not.
There's nobody there for them to fight.
Until after WrestleMania, probably.
Yes, there is nothing there. There is nobody there for them to fight. Whereas SmackDown, you have 5 legitimately good tag teams competing for the titles. It's like a completely different, like, how can we be so good over here, but yet so nothing besides the champs over it, you know. But anyway, don't do the Street Profits like that. What are you talking about? They just won the tag titles for the first time in 4 years. Don't do the Street Profits like that. Pretty Deadly, incredible. Just an incredible unit of a team.
Scottish, all right. They're not winning on Friday.
They're not going to. They should, though. In their home country, absolutely should. But anyway, I digress. That's fine. If they don't want to do it on Friday, just save it and have them win the multi-team match at Mania. But we have to get out of here. Pretty Deadly rules. Drew knows it. He's just hanging on to the bit for dear life, but he knows it.
There's no
week after week, you know, he's sitting there watching SmackDown and he goes, "Fuck, JPJ is right."
Literally mute their sound.
Yeah, he's like,
because I don't care about their music. I don't care about the disco ball. I don't
See, you're just a hater. See, this is why this show will not last forever, because Drew's too negative and he doesn't like fun. So, you know, it is what it is. Now he's just spitefully. New Day should have the Raw titles, George. I think that will happen. Last night on Raw, they were very adamant that they want to tag title match.
If we want to talk about completely dropping the ball on a major heel turn, New Day, awful follow up to
that. Yeah. It is what it is. But all right, we ran too long today, so we have to get out of here. That was Raw. Again, I love the international crowds, Drew. Obviously, they bring a lot to the table here. But I do feel like this was nothing more than just a phone it in European tour. I do feel like a lot of these shows, they go to when they go internationally, they rely on the crowds way more than they rely on the actual.
And I'm going to give a little bit of a
quality of the show.
I don't like European crowds.
Well, again, you don't like fun. We've established this.
Obviously they add a different aura to the shows because they don't sound like American crowds. They don't do they do all these chants and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I don't understand half of what you're saying, but fine. I appreciate their enthusiasm.
Yeah.
However, the soccer chants and whatever the hell they're doing, it doesn't resonate with me at all. It's not something that I care about.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think here's my thing. For me, this is becoming, I like it when they go to international places, but I liked it when they went to international places every so often. When you do it for 3 weeks in a row, it's already old hat to me. I'm like, okay, great.
After going there for
like 6 straight shows, you've been at
4 pay-per-views last year.
So now it's becoming a thing where it's like, now you go internationally so often. I feel happy for those fans that they're getting more opportunities to go see big shows. Like, good for them.
And I'm happy for us that there's afternoon wrestling.
Exactly.
However, I'm at work, so I still have to watch it when everyone else is watching.
Yeah, we're hearing and seeing these type of chants and crowds so often that it's not becoming special anymore. It used to feel special when they went to internet. You're like, oh shit, they're going to Lyon, France for Backlash. Like, this is going to be a crazy crowd. But now when you go internationally 25 times a year, it loses its luster. Not for the people that live there, like, good for them. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, you can come back to America now. We're better than most people. You can come back here now. You can come back here now. You just make your way back over here. I would like to go to a Road to WrestleMania show. Screw them. Thank you. They can watch on TV. Thanks. That's kind of how I feel. No offense, Sandy. I love you. But the shows can come back over here now. But anyway, I digress. Drew, we will be here on Thursday. Firmly AE-dub. Dynamite tomorrow night. Have no idea what's happening on that show. But
they're going to be in your neck of the woods soon.
I will hopefully be there back-to-back nights. I'm definitely going to be there on the Dynamite show.
Which are you talking about?
By hook or by crook.
Spring break. that one.
They're doing back-to-back shows in Boston. The week of WrestleMania, oddly enough. That Wednesday night is in the Breakthrough in Boston. Then they're taping Collision the next night at the same arena in Boston. And then I want to say the Saturday before that, they're in Springfield, Massachusetts for Collision live. So they're in Springfield, Mass, which is kind of near Connecticut. It's out there. That's a drive. I would go if I got access, but that's kind of a drive. It's like more towards you're going to New York, that area. But I think they're in Springfield, Mass live for a live Collision. And then the following week, they're doing back-to-back nights in Boston at the MGM Grand, which is literally behind the Green Monster of Fenway Park.
I know.
Like you walk out of that venue
I've
and
been
you're
looking
staring at the
because
Green
maybe
Monster.
I'm going to go.
Yeah, you're staring at the Green Monster. And that will be baseball season will be in session. The Red Sox, I believe, are home that week. So that shit's going to be buzzing, dude.
Oh, wow.
That shit's going to be buzzing. You walk out there after a Dynamite at 10, 10:30, 11. The people from the Red Sox game are out there drunk, sausage vendors, hot dogs. Fuck yeah, man. I'm ready. Anyway.
I may, depending on how my spring break goes, I might be going away somewhere. I don't know. But if that doesn't pan out, I may actually make my way up there that Wednesday.
Well, if you do, let me know. I'm trying to gain access to the show from AEW. So we'll see. Most likely it's one of those events that even if I don't, I will purchase. I will be there, at least on the Dynamite. Obviously, Thursday nights, I'm a little preoccupied by something we have here at Love Wrestling. A little show called Between Two Beards at 8 o'clock. Obviously, if I can get access to both shows and cover Collision there too, I will go to that, and Pluggo can have a guest that night, or I can pop in live from the venue or something like that. But I am definitely going to be there for that Dynamite. Definitely going to be there one way or the other. So you let me know, bro. You coming to my neck of the woods, you let me know. I know all the spots to go after if you want to get a little crazy. I know all the spots. But anyway, Drew, plug your shit. Let the people know where they can find you, and we're going to get the heck out of here because we went overtime today.
Yes, we did. At the Drew Nicholas on Twitter and Blue Sky. Follow at Firmly LW as well for our Firmly Love Wrestling show. That's our Twitter account. And Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. All the links for that stuff in the bio on Twitter. Go there. Enjoy. Your turn.
JPJ Loves Gaming. All social media accounts, including Twitch. Been playing a whole hell of a lot of MLB The Show.
You
just came out a lot, Drew. A lot. I'm not going to tell you. This Thursday will be 2 weeks. I'm not going to tell you how many hours I put in that game, but it's a lot.
I think you've played MLB more than I've slept.
Yeah, probably. It's a lot. It's a lot. But it's fun as hell. The game's been good so far. Obviously, you can find me Thursday morning, 10 a.m., every Tuesday and Thursday morning with this guy for Firmly Love Wrestling. We talk WWE on Tuesdays like today. We talk AEW on Thursdays. Thursday night, 8 p.m., the flagship here. We are on the road to episode 300. We have episode 201, baby. Thursday night. Stay tuned on the B2 at B2 Beards. Stay tuned for info about that show. Like Ophelia said, watch alongs on my channel. We will be live tonight, 7:45 p.m. on JPJ Loves Gaming on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok for our NXT watch along. Stephanie Vaquer defending not one championship, but 2 championships back to back tonight.
Which Ava hates her.
Yep, she's defending the World Championship against Jada Parker, and then right after, she's defending the North American against Fallon Henley. Should be a good one. Should be a good one tonight. That'll be a lot of fun. Ophelia will be joining me for that, so come hang out. Yeah, that's where you can find me. Here on Love Wrestling, here on my own channel. Yeah, but Drew and I, you can find us Thursday morning at 10 a.m. for Firmly AEW. And until then, you all know the drill. Thanks for hanging a little extra with us today. Some weeks we just need it. It's funny on how, like, probably the most anticlimactic Raw of the last month, we went the longest show that we've had in the last month.
We actually also integrated SmackDown into it.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But all right, you guys know the drill.
You're
Drew and
trying
I
to delay it
appreciate
just
you.
so this is 2:30 when we end. Right?
Exactly, which is going to go right now by the time
we got like it's about 2:29:30
yeah,
now.
yeah. I'm gonna hit the
we could
show.
also just delay it just a little bit longer
Yeah,
because
just
it's
a smidge.
about about now.
Yeah.